Hi guys, and welcome to my latest video. This is going to be a car boot sale haul. I went out this morning, left a little bit later than I would have liked, but I went out this morning. It was a local hard-standing car boot fair, so we weren't affected by the bad weather that some parts of the country are having. And just thought I'd share with you guys the couple of things that I picked up. A few things were good, some were not amazing, so I'll be happy to just go through them all with you guys. One of the first things I picked up, to kind of get it out of the way really, was this clock, and it's a no electric Jones London wall clock. I should have known better because it's plastic, it says made in China, yet I still paid £10 for it because I thought it looked cool, but it is cheap, it's not valuable. I think the last one sold on eBay for £14, which would actually probably end up netting me a loss. So I'm going to actually have to shoot for more than that and maybe aim for like £20, and we'll see how that goes. If I get lucky, if not, then that's a bit of a loss of a tenner, or some part of a tenner at least. Okay, not so great start. Next item that I wanted to show you guys, this was actually quite cool. I saw a house clearance guy, and he sorted me out with a little bundle deal. I picked up two VCRs, a stereo, and an iPod dock connector, all for, I think it was £8, which is pretty amazing. I think it was £8 I paid. So this is the dock connector I got, and you can see it's one of the older style 2003 Apple iPod docks. It's got a 40-pin connector and a line out at the back. These I reckon still fetch around a tenner, but like I said, I had that like thrown in pretty much. Now this is the cool part. I got this with it, a bright red Panasonic FM25 FM, AM radio, and shortwave radio actually, and cassette player. It runs on batteries and mains. I've tested it out. It works really nicely. It's made in made in Singapore rather, not Japan. So it's not going to be mega desirable, but these are quite rare. I've had a look on eBay, and I don't think these are ten a penny. I've seen regular color ones of similar go for okay money, like between 20 and £30, but in the red color, I think I should be holding out for a bit more, maybe £40, maybe even £50. I'm not sure, but I think if the right person sees this bit of awesomeness, they will definitely pick it up. So I got that as part of the £8 deal. So those two alone are really good buys. Okay, but here's where it gets good. This is a Sony SLV SE840 VCR. Now, one of them has a remote because they had this Sony remote control, video remote control. The other doesn't, but I've got some spare Sony remotes, so I'm hoping one of them will work. So that's a nice Sony SLV SE840. I reckon you should be able to get about £40 for that. And then I also got another Sony VCR as well. Okay, which is over here, and this is the SLV SE740. So two Sony VCRs, the red retro Panasonic CD radio cassette, and the iPod dock for £8, and that was a really good kind of comeback for me from my clock faux pas, as it were. So that was out. That was pretty cool. Next item. Now, by the looks of it, I didn't actually buy as much as I thought I'd bought. It's just because I've ended up buying some bulkier items, so they they get heavy and etc. Next item I picked up was this. Now, this isn't working. This is a Philips 0086 dictation machine. I took a punt on it for £1. Unfortunately, during getting home, you can see that the flap has popped out and it won't stay back in. It has a plug on it. I've plugged it in, and unfortunately there was no sign of power. I may try changing the fuse because it's quite an old looking plug, but that's a cool looking machine. Unfortunately, even though I only paid £1 for it, I think a working one of these sold for 15. Someone sold it for 15, which is quite low, I think, for something so old and so vintage, made in Austria. So I'm not sure what I'll get for that, but again, that's a bit of a buy maybe. But still, I mean, I think I can get something for it. I should make some money on it. Okay. I mean, that's the thing you have to bear in mind. You're not always going to be at the top of your game, as it were, and sometimes you're going to make some silly mistakes. And part of it was is I was really annoyed at myself that I end up picking up the same goddamn things, and I shouldn't complain, but I want to force myself out of my comfort zone. And yeah, I've come back and I'm showing you videos and you know and ghetto blasters, so I'm a bit annoyed. I feel like a bit of a chode for that, but anyway, let's move on. Now, this was quite cool. This was from another house clearance guy. He did me a deal on two vintage Ghetto blasters for £15. I paid £7.50 each. Now, unfortunately, both of them have got various faults. This one here, the cassette makes a rattling sound when you play it. The radio dial is not there. However, you can still tune the radio, but the radio is very finicky in terms of getting it to tune cleanly because of that, I'm guessing. But when you plug in something using the auxiliary inputs, like using your iPod or your phone, it works and sounds great. The speakers are actually in good condition. Now, in working order, this thing is about 60 quid. I've seen these sell for. Even a faulty one actually sold for about, I think, 45 pounds, and that was with some faults as well. So I'm really happy with that for £7.50 basically. So I'm sure I'll get some decent money from that, and that's made in Japan. Ghetto blaster from Panasonic, really good model there. So that was a good buy. And here's the other one. Now this one's even more cool. Unfortunately, again, it's got issues with the cassette decks. They're not working. Probably the rubber has perished on them. But other than that, it all lights up. The radio works a-okay as well. A little bit of dinging on the mesh, but you know, that is a cool bit of kit. Again, made in Japan. I think I should do well on both of those, considering I paid £15 for the pair. Even if they're faulty, they should fetch me at least 30 to 40 each, I reckon, depending on how much I'm prepared to wait, etc. So that was that. Now this is a nice buy. This is quite cool. I paid, the guy wanted 20, but I paid 15, and this is a Salter Brecknell bench scale, and it's got a built-in, it's got a removable battery, which recharges, and it weighs up to 15 kilos. It's a really nice bit of kit. I think brand new, these things go for around the 60 to 90. I've seen them vary at 60 something on offer plus postage in some shops. More often than not, they're around the 70 to 90 mark. I reckon I'll do okay. It says it's low battery because it hasn't really been charged. But I think I'll do okay with this. I paid £15 for it. I think I'll get a decent amount. Maybe I should get about £40 back, maybe something along those lines. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, and that leads me on, I think, to my final pickup. No, one more thing to show you before my final pickup. Probably one of my best pickups. Now, in terms of pickups, it's one of my best because look at the size of it. It's going to be easy to post. It only cost me £1. No hassle to test, really. I tested it out with some batteries. It's a Casio graphic calculator. It's the FX7700. One of these sold for £20 recently. So from I might actually even look up what it sells for on Amazon FBA before I send it into sell it on eBay. But I paid £1 for that. Works absolutely fine. And that was a pretty good buy. Now finally, this is something I ended up paying 40 quid for. So I'm not peeved because you know it's a good buy, and thankfully I've tested it and it works. But I'm kind of getting a bit frustrated with some of the attitudes of the sellers. I think everyone is very quick as a seller to point out eBay prices, and I know we should expect this as resellers, but I'm only human, and sometimes you do just get frustrated, and you do want to have a rant. Because sometimes people are just unrealistic in what they expect. If you're selling goods from the back of a boot and your only immediate cost is a pitch fee, you cannot ask for eBay prices. The people are very quick to ask for eBay prices, which who aren't selling on eBay, and they're conveniently ignoring things such as the eBay listing fee, the final value fee, the PayPal fee, the cost of postage, and not to mention the risks. Not to mention that you have to offer a 14 to 30 day back a money back guarantee. Not to mention the fact that if something goes wrong, more often than not, eBay will side with the buyer. More not mentioning the fact that people can actually go to PayPal and ask them to reverse a decision that eBay have made, and PayPal can take money from your account. I think it's like 180 days after you've received funds, if obviously that it's provable that you're at fault. And when you're selling at a boot fair, you don't have to worry about those things, and you must take into consideration those things that the general headache, the time it takes to list package, rather than having something out of the back of the boot and just asking eBay money for it, or even close to eBay money. It shouldn't be close to eBay money, and it's kind of frustrating when some of the attitudes you get about, oh, you're going to sell it on eBay, and it's like, well, yes, because I can be asked and you can't, because you're a chode. And it's just frustrating. But anyway, that leads me on to my final item that I wanted to show you. I did pay up on it. Thank God it works. I obviously had no guarantee it would work, but thank God it does work. And I had bought it because it's something I'd purchased and sold before. Now, it's a vintage Kenwood food mixer. Now, on its own, this is not worth £40, and I would never recommend buying it for 40. I have sold one similar like this for 60 on eBay, and that was with free shipping. So you got to take out like a tenner for shipping. But this comes with the three attachments, the glass bowl. It's in really nice condition, really, for its age. Lovely bit of kit, this Kenwood. Now, the reason why I paid up £40 for it is because it actually came with two of the glass jugs. Now, the jugs themselves, I've sold the jug with the attachment and the lid for £33 previously, I think, and I've actually got a second jug here without a lid. But I thought for all of that together for 40, I can kind of stomach it, but it doesn't leave a great deal of margin for error. What if I don't pack one of these properly and it smashes? Suddenly I'm just going to be breaking even or something. I don't know. I mean, I probably won't be, because, like I said, I should be able to get like 60 odd at least for the mixer. But it's frustrating to hear that attitude. If anyone out there is a seller at the boot fairs, etc., it's common sense that the best prices are on eBay, and if you want the best prices, sell on eBay. Don't expect to get those prices just out of the back of the boot of your car in a field on a Saturday or Sunday morning. It's ignorant to do so. I mean, sometimes you get. I mean, most house clearance people are great and they will do deals, etc. But sometimes you get people asking ridiculous money. Why on earth would I pay you that kind of cash? And it leads me to think, well, maybe there's some buyers that are paying that kind of cash, maybe just for themselves. But it's just a bit of a rant, really, but very frustrating. So overall, I think I would say I'm happy with today's haul. It wasn't spectacular. I may be able to get some decent profits out of it. Like I said, this Kenwood lot, it was close to the bone, but the two glass jugs kind of swung it, because you're potentially looking at decent money here. I mean, I've seen people sell just the glass jug without the attachment for £22, so there's possibilities in breaking it down and doing it that way as well. But I think overall for 40, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not great, considering I have actually bought this same mixer before for a fiver. So it does make me smart somewhat to pay 8 times as much. It was a lot of money to ask for a boot fair. I think that's everything I've got to mention. One final thing, actually. One final thing. This is awesome. this is like a bit of a Facebook kind of tip, as it were. I'd neglected looking on Facebook for a while, and I remember that actually Facebook's a really good source for stock. And I was just looking through after so long. I thought I should have a look through some of the groups that I'm part of, buying and selling groups, and a guy put up a GameCube for a fiver. Now, it was a black Nintendo GameCube, and it came with Mario Kart Double Dash and two other terrible games. Mario Kart Double Dash is okay, it's not massively valuable on its own, and it had two official controllers, and that was it. And he was only asking £5, which is amazing. That's kind of like a boot fair price. And immediately people were queuing up, me next, me next, me next, and then people started to put bids in like it was an auction. And before you knew it, the guy wasn't looking at anything less than 30 quid. I said to him, look, the most I could ever pay you is 30, because I was thinking of selling the controllers, or selling one of the controllers separately, maybe, and then selling the console and then selling the games, and it would make me a tiny bit of money, perhaps. And it was more just the fact that these don't come up very often, so you kind of fancy buying them, so it's not even necessarily a great business choice. But for 30 quid, suddenly it went up like it was like a bidding war on Facebook groups. And it's just again all based on, oh, these go for so much more on eBay, and a lot of people were jumping on this. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this story is because literally a couple of posts down, someone had bumped an item that they had first listed in September of last year. So this thing had been there for so long untouched, and it had just dropped down and dropped down and dropped down. And luckily, the lady had just bumped it like a few hours ago. And again, no one had even bothered looking at it. Yeah, everyone was piling onto this GameCube post and offering money hand over fist. And I picked up from this lady with no competition, and this thing's been on there since September. Shockingly, this is an Omron M7 automatic blood pressure monitor, and me buying this for a tenner and being able to sell it on eBay for 40 to 50 pounds is going to give me a hell of a lot more profit and a lot less potential headache than buying a Nintendo GameCube for like 30 quid and trying to eke out a profit, especially when you consider the higher percentage of people that are more likely to be picky slash scam you when it comes to video games. So just a little reminder there to keep your eyes wide open, keep your mind broadened, and that's part of the reason I was a little bit frustrated at the boot fair, that even though I've ended up picking up some cool stuff, it just seems like it's more of what I normally pick up, and I do wish to change that. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this whole video. Apologies for the rant. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section. If you like the video, please leave it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.